27 years, 22 houses, 11 towns, 8 states. My dad said he was looking for where he is meant to be. And so we moved year after year, my parents, 3 siblings, and I, as my dad searched for that feeling of belonging. But finally, when I was 9, we moved to a little town called Richmond, Indiana, where we lived for 14 years. And I hated Indiana for a long time until I decided to go to college there. And I realized how much I loved the sight of beautiful sunsets over cornfields and the familiarity of Midwestern hospitality. And I thought that maybe being meant to be somewhere didn't exist. It was more about coming to know a place intimately. And that feeling of belonging deepened when I graduated college and started working for the city landscaping crew. We grew flowers in the 1950s glass greenhouse and went out into city parks to fix them up and beautify them. And I had always assumed that I would move as much as my family did, but I started to see a future for myself, working in the parks, going to the farmers market on the weekends, and developing an education series at the greenhouse. Instead, my partner got an apprenticeship as a wildland firefighter in Louisiana, of all places, and I had lived in New England, the Southwest, the Western Mountain States, the Midwest, but never the South. I didn't even know where Louisiana was on the US map, which might say more about my knowledge of geography than anything, but that's neither here nor there. So we moved to Louisiana, where the sun fries you as hot as the food. I hid my queerness. My partner was out west every summer, and the pandemic hit. And even though I had tried to let go of the idea of being meant to be somewhere, I didn't feel like I belonged in Louisiana. And I didn't know if I wanted to get to know it intimately. I did have a job that I loved. I worked in a garden connected to a food bank, gardening in the morning until the wet heat became unbearable, and teaching about sustainable gardening in the afternoon. But while I felt a sense of belonging in the job, I still didn't feel that I belonged in Louisiana. Then I went to visit my partner when he was placed in Bend, Oregon for the fire season. And I went to the abundant farmers market, I hiked among the conifers, and I felt like I was meant to be there. So my partner applied for a firefighting job in Bend, and by March of 2023, we were driving across the country with a U-Haul, 2 cars, a pop-up camper, and our cat and dog. It was quite the trip. And while I felt like I belonged in Bend, moving across the country is hard no matter what. You're trying to get a job without a network, you're trying to find a new doctor and vet and hairdresser, and you're trying to make friends. And based on my last job, I decided to continue working with kids. I got a job with a summer camp, and it was one of the hardest summers of my life. I was so burned out, and it felt like a vital piece was missing. As the camp wrapped up, one of my coworkers, who happened to be a FoodCorps alum, told me that a school nutrition service member position had unexpectedly opened up in Redmond, just 20 minutes north of Bend. So I applied without really knowing what FoodCorps was or if I even had a chance of getting the position, but clearly I did. And it feels like that vital missing piece of gardening and food are falling into place. Service has made me want to know this place intimately. The same week that FoodCorps held a seminar about value chains, I met with a local farm co-op to talk about a partnership with the school district. Value chains refer to partnerships that are formed because of an overlap in values rather than for the sole purpose of profit. And in that meeting, I realized that I shared a lot of the values of those in this area. And I can see now how I might fit long term, how I might belong long term. And I feel that I'm coming to know this place intimately and grow my network. And I even found a good hairdresser. So I don't know if there is such a thing as being meant to live somewhere or being meant to have a certain job, but I do know that I feel a sense of belonging here, and I'm finding ways to know this place more intimately. Sorry. And maybe that's all that we can do. Follow our bliss, get to know our place, and find that sense of belonging. Because if there is such a thing as being meant to be, I think I'm meant to be in Central Oregon, serving as a school nutrition service member right now. Thank you.